Hi, Steve Gronlund here, Vintage Mortgage Firm and President Just Do Something Incorporated. And I'm looking forward to today's event. I'm going to be presenting the lead generating machine. It's been an incredible machine over the years. I've done this hundreds of times for thousands of attendees all throughout California, North, Central, and Southern California. And it's been had great reviews. I'll tell you, lots of agents have actually taken this and used it in either it's in its entirety or parts of it, and they've really dramatically increased their business. And I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. I was lucky 28 years ago. I heard about this, and I actually built the entire machine, step 1 through step 8. And it has made all the difference for me in many different markets. Of course, I've seen 5 different downturns in the market, and I've been able to keep my phone ringing throughout the entire period. We've got a great team now in my company, and I'm looking forward to the next 10 years. So let's get started on this. You're going to enjoy it. All right, what is the lead generating machine going to automatically do for you once it's built? It's going to eliminate the highs and lows of market changes. Probably the most important thing, but it's also going to prevent client loss during the process. It's going to drastically increase how many people know you. It's going to keep you top of mind with your best prospects. It's going to build deeper relationships and trust with your best prospects. It's going to cause your best prospects to do business with you and want to do business with you and want to refer you. It's going to follow up with your best prospects, past clients, and referral partners. It's going to build referral partners from scratch, even if you don't know anyone. It's going to build channel accounts that refer multiple closed transactions to you per year. It's going to cause you to dramatically increase your income without increasing the amount of time you spend working. It's going to keep the phone ringing during life's challenges. It's going to provide you with more security, with more constant flow of business in market conditions, and any and all market conditions. It's going to reduce anxiety that comes with market changes and uncertainty. It's also going to smooth out the ups and downs. Of course, we've all seen this graph. It's either a seller's market or a buyer's market or something in between, like what we're about to go into. We all know that as you learn more in the real estate business, you're going to get to the point where you can deal and make business happen in both the seller's market and the buyer's market. But you don't always have control over environmental conditions and the economy and what it might do. But nevertheless, if you start in this business, you don't normally know everything, and you start at the position of optimism. You might be with a broker that teaches you how to get started. You realize excitement and thrill and even euphoria if you start to realize success. But if all you know no longer works because the market changes or the economy changes and you don't do anything different, then you'll realize anxiety and denial and fear. As your business slows down and goes the opposite direction, you'll realize desperation, panic, and capitulation. I don't know what capitulation is, but I know I felt it because I felt them all the way down, as well as despondency and desperation and depression. You know, when you get into this business and you start seeing some success and the market changes and you're no longer seeing the success, you can reach those low levels just as hard and as deep as you felt the high levels and the excitement of those high levels. And then, of course, if you stay in the business long enough and you don't quit, many people quit. But if you don't quit, of course, you're going to become more open-minded to learning new things, and you're going to start to realize that you can also make money in any market, and you're going to start to learn something new, and you'll start to realize hope, relief, and optimism again, and the cycle starts all over again until the next time the market changes or shifts in a different way. Again, it can shift not just to a buyer's market or a seller's market, but the economy can change. Laws can change, rules can change, and so you need to be able to be prepared to be able to handle all of those changes in the market, and that's what this is all about. The purpose of this machine is to stretch out that cycle so you don't see such a high, you don't see such a low, and your business continues to grow year after year after year after year. And 30, 40 years into the business, you're not marketing at all. They're all referral-based business coming into your pipeline, and you're going to be a lot happier. I promise you that. You always wonder what would happen if something happened to you, ended up in the hospital, you got ill, maybe serious, maybe major, you broke your leg or something and you can't work. This is the time when you're not going to be at your best. And if the phone continues to ring, it'll help you get out of those moods and those levels of depressions that you can realize when you reach those levels. Of course, we're going to be thinking outside the box, but I want you to understand that this lead generating machine is not my idea. It's been around for decades. It's been granulonized a little bit, but it's been around for a long time. So I don't want you to think this is something new, but you're going to find new ways of understanding it so you can realize why most people don't do it. You'll also understand why 95% of the business is conducted by 5% of the agents out there. So what makes me qualified? Well, I've had a lot of difficult times. I'm not going to get into all of my down times, but I've realized depression. I've fought with depression. I've realized very bad things that happened in my life and catastrophes and tragic situations where, you know what, if my marketing machine wasn't working and the phone wasn't ringing, it would be really hard to get out of those things. And if it required me to be on my best in order to get the phones ringing by making phone calls and calling people constantly, like I had to do in the beginning, and like you might be good at, but if you're down and something's not going well in your life, you want to make sure that you can do something that or have the phone ringing so that it'll help you get out of those times. And that's what's happened for me many, many times. So we're going to get started in understanding a little bit about goal setting and business planning and leads in general in order to understand what we're going to be doing in the lead generating machine. So this part is not necessarily exciting, but it's important for you to understand so you can understand the rest of this. So you can build something, you can build it once, you can believe it's going to happen, and you can make sure that it works the way you want it to work. So goal setting in business planning and success in any business, whether you're a dentist or a real estate agent, starts with the understanding of who your market is and one most important term, and that's the lead. Who is your market? Who are going to be your leads? Of course, getting the lead, keeping the lead, closing the lead, following up with the lead, and getting a new lead. That's all part of the business. For today, I want you to think of a lead as nothing more than a name with a possible need and a phone number. Of course, certain leads are going to be poor leads and certain leads are going to be better leads. We'll talk about that as we go through here. There's two different types of leads. A friend of mine used to say there's two different kinds of people in the world. Those who categorize people into other categories and those who don't. So in this industry, you're going to feel the same. You're going to understand that there are two different types of leads. They're going to be client leads and there's going to be referral partners. There's going to be 6 different levels of leads: suspects, prospects, active clients, past clients, referral partners, and channel accounts. We're going to talk about all of those. 2 different quality of leads. Of course, we know some leads are better than others. Some leads are loyal and fun. Some leads are fun and profitable. Some leads are, well, you simply don't want. You'd rather have your competition get those leads. In fact, every once in a while, we'll get a client that we want to fire. And I get that. I understand that. Some leads are hard to get and some leads are easy to get. At the risk of asking a question that all of you know, I'll tell you that, most people think you want to have the easy lead. Well, what is an easy lead? What is a hard lead? Which one do you really want? Well, this is an example of an easy lead for the purpose of this workshop. This is a crazy person who wants you to call them every single day. They call you every day and they get upset and they get frustrated because they don't understand the real estate business and they're just unhappy. And I want you to understand, if it's all about the lead, an easy lead is hard to close because it's coming from a non-trustworthy and very low valued source in the eyes of the client. It's an easy lead because it took no effort to develop the source. These are examples of easy leads. I like this one. On the other hand, a hard lead is easy to close because it's coming from a trustworthy and highly valued source in the eyes of the client. It's hard because the relationship you must create and nurture with the source is hard, and it's hard to create and nurture and develop. These are examples of hard leads. These leads are pleasant, non-demanding, appreciative, realistic. They're a joy to work with. So looking at that, hard leads or easy leads, let's just take an example and help you to understand. An internet lead would be an easy lead. Yes, you're going to pay a lot of money. It's going to be an expensive lead. Easy leads are always expensive to get. You're gonna pay for some system, and you're gonna get internet leads. We see them all the time. You can pay for Zillow and all different kinds of things. I can't even remember them all. I think I get a call from one of them every single day. A referral from a personal friend, however, would be an example of a hard lead, because personal friends are relationships. It takes a while for you to nurture and build trust with. So that's why I call them a hard lead. And then looking at a call coming in from an advertisement, of course, that would be an easy lead too. You're going to spend money on that advertisement, and then you're going to spend more time trying to sell you to that client, and you're going to get a lot of people calling you, and that's the hope of an advertisement. And then you've got to be good at closing, because they're not sold on you yet because nobody referred them to you. A referral from a divorce attorney, once again, a hard lead. Somebody who's referred by their divorce attorney is not going to jump ship. They're not going to use you for information. They're not going to go see houses without you and work with the listing agent. You know what I mean? They're not going to list with you and then want to cancel. That's not going to happen. A sign call, again, another easy lead. You make a sign, you put it out, it's somewhat expensive, and you get calls coming in, people who don't know you, who are not sold on you, who were not referred to you. A past client coming back to you, well, that's a hard lead, because you better have built a relationship with that past client. If you never talk to them, or you don't have anything happening with that client over the last 5 years since you helped them buy or sell their house, well, very good chance that they're going to go with somebody different, because you didn't build a relationship with you. So a past client is a hard lead. A phone book listing, that's probably the example of the absolute worst lead out there. It's an easy lead. It's going to cost you no money, but lots of time making cold calls, which is what I did in the very beginning. A referral from a financial planner, in my opinion, would be the very best lead there is out there. Nobody is going to jump ship from you if they were referred to you by their financial planner. You're going to have equity in the transaction. If something goes wrong, they're probably not going to blame you. They're going to sit tight. They're going to listen to your advice, and they're going to do what you ask them to do. That's a difference between a hard lead and an easy lead. There's 10 lead sources out there that are the major lead sources. There's others as well, but I'm going to just talk about 10 lead sources for a real estate agent. Now, the first one is a business lead. And I call business leads, and that's certified financial planners, certified public accountants, divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, top realtors. Yes, you can get a referral from a top realtor in another state. In fact, we can talk about that at another time. I know agents that get all their business from other agents in other states. It's incredible how they built their business. But anyways, on a scale of 1 to 10, a survey says, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, that is a level 15 valuable lead source. Personal friends reaching out to you to list their house or help them buy a house is definitely a 10. Survey says 10. Past clients coming back to you, survey says that's a 10. Past clients that are referring you business, a referral from a past client, that's a 10. A builder, wouldn't it be nice to have a small, medium-sized builder that's giving all of their referrals to you so you can help them put together the purchase for that builder? That's a 10. A current client referral, somebody you're currently working with refers you to somebody else, and that's a 10. Other realtors, not top realtors that are in the top category, but other realtors who might not know really well how to refer you, or maybe don't have a good relationship with the client that's being referred to you. Well, that's maybe a 7. Web or internet leads, Facebook and LinkedIn. Of course, if the Facebook lead isn't actually somebody you know and knows you, that would be different. But web leads, most people go to your website from a web or internet lead, and they know you wrote everything about you on your website, so they take it with a grain of salt. But at least they read whatever you wrote or whatever your webmaster wrote. That's a 5 in the survey. And an advertisement, like a sign advertisement or an advertisement in a magazine or something like that, well, that's a 2. In general contacts, everybody else that you know or you might not know, just people you have in your business card stack, they're general contacts, people you maybe have bumped into 3, 4, 5 years ago. You want to keep their information for you because you might need their services, but they don't remember you. But nevertheless, you have them in your database, and that's a 1. Incidentally, where do most people spend all their money and time, amazing amounts of time working and dealing with? Most people spend all that time and money on the bottom 3 levels of the lead sources. So it's really important to understand that that's what we do. And that's what people are trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you things that are expensive. I'm not selling you anything, by the way. This is free, and my help to you would be free too. If you need more help, you can email me, you can call me. I'd be happy to talk to you. Nevertheless, we want to work on the top 6 or 7 in this case. What we want to do is have our lead generating machine. If we're going to take time and spend a little bit of money and take time to build this lead generating machine, we want it to work on the best leads out there. We want it focused on the best thing we can do in our life, in our business. So we want it focused on the top 6 or 7 lead sources, okay? And later on the 8th part of this machine, we're going to be having it work on just simply the very top leads, so that you can transition in the future to a much more successful, less time-intensive business that's going to give you your freedom back. And the sooner, the better, right? So understanding the most important talent of goal setting. We're going to talk a little bit about goal setting. This is not a goal setting workshop, but I need to make sure you understand a few things so you can better grasp some of the concepts that you're going to hear during this lead generating machine. Breaking down the goal. Okay, success with easy leads requires much harder work, much more time, and much more money. Talk about my own career and how I got started in this business. I went to the School of Hard Knocks. I tell people I've got a PhD. That's a public high school diploma for those of you who are also highly educated. Anyways, I got out of the military in 1991, and I set myself up with a brand new, with a broker who was not brand new, but I was brand new in the industry. I just came out of the Air Force. I was a jet engine mechanic, and I didn't know much about sales. Her name was Rainey. I'll mention her later. But nevertheless, I got started with her. She was my broker, and we sat down and in order to make some goals, and she realized after talking to me that I had no sales skills. And of course, I'm sure she probably was a little dismayed by that. But she said that the best way that I could get sales skills, the fastest way to do it is by telemarketing. And of course, it didn't excite me, but I didn't have any sales skills. I wanted to be successful in this business, and this is what she said I had to do. So she said she was going to give me a list of title leads and that who had first and second mortgages, and I was going to call these leads and try to combine them into one loan. It was in the San Francisco Bay Area, so they were big leads. Nevertheless, she told me that she was going to give me this list, and I was going to go dialing for dollars. And she said, don't get dismayed. You're going to have to play a game with this, but you're going to have to probably make 5 phone calls to find one person that would talk to you. And I had to understand that. I said, oh, okay. And she said I would have to talk to 5 people to take one application. And I said, okay, well, I can deal with that. And then she said I would have to take 5 applications to close one deal. And I said, okay. And then she explained to me that's a 25-to-1 ratio. And then she said, okay, so if we're going to do this, she thought my average net would be $5,000. It's actually gross $10,000 to the broker, and she was going to share that 50-50 with me. That was back in 1991. And so that's what we did. And I understood at $5,000 per deal. I thought, well, that was exciting. I wasn't making $5,000 a month in the service. In fact, I was making about $3,000 a month in the military for the whole month. And I thought, well, gee, all I have to do is close one deal. But I didn't want to do that. I had lofty goals, and I knew people that were making a lot of money in real estate and in mortgage. Incidentally, it was hard for me to decide to go into the mortgage business or the real estate business, and finally decided on the mortgage business. I felt like it fit my analytical personality, but nevertheless, sales skills are necessary in both. We're both in the same business, by the way. You make more money per transaction, but I can often do more transactions. So we're both in the same kind of a business. I get stuck behind a desk and you get to go out and see people. And I was more excited about that. But nevertheless, I got into the mortgage business, and here's how it worked. She said, okay, what do you want to make? And I told her I wanted to make $300,000 my first year. She did not smile or giggle or do anything like that to lead me to believe that wasn't possible. Although I'm sure in her mind she was thinking, oh yeah, right. But nevertheless, she said, okay, let's say you want to make $300,000 my first full year in the business, first 12 months in the business. She said, you're going to have to get started right away, and you're going to have to understand how many deals you're going to have to do. So if you break $5,000 net deals into $300,000 first year income, that means I was going to have to do 60 deals in a year. And I said, oh, okay, that sounds okay. And she said, okay, but how many applications would you have to take? I'd have to take 300 applications. And how many conversations would I have to have then? And that would mean I'd have to have 1,500 conversations. And how many phone calls would I have to make? That would mean I'd have to make 7,500 phone calls. Well, at the time I said, holy crap, that's a lot of phone calls. But of course, she was smarter than I was. And she said, yeah, it's maybe some poor leads, but you got to get some sales skills, and that's what I need you to do. And when you do this, and I'll help you do other things. She says, okay, so I want you to think about how do you eat an elephant? Now, that's the first time I ever heard that term. I'm sure you heard of it a million different times. Of course, she said a little at a time, and I laughed. 60 deals, or about 5 deals a month I'd have to make, or a little more than 1 per week. So I'd have to be closing a little more than 1 deal per week. I'd have to do 300 applications. That's 25 per month. That's a little more than 1 per day. She said, those are a lot easier to bite than I thought. And 1,500 conversations means 125 per month. But really, it was only a little more than 6 per day. 7,500 phone calls to 625. What meant 625 per month, or a little more than 28 per day. The outcome of the phone calls didn't matter, she said. It doesn't matter what they say. You just got to make the phone calls. Now, I'll give you a script and I'll tell you what to say and you'll get good at it. And I said, okay. So then she said it was just going to be a numbers game. In my case, she said, you don't have to work any weekends or holidays. And she said, okay, I figured out how to make 28 phone calls every single day before lunch. And it wasn't going to be hard to do. 28 phone calls, I could do that in just a couple hours, 3 or 4 hours at the most, but I could do it before lunch every day. And then it was a matter of playing the game. She gave me scripts as to what to say when somebody answered, and scripts as to what to say if I got a voicemail. And I just kept on, started dialing for dollars. And of course, every time I dialed, I was expecting to get someone who looked like this. Well, of course, I was young. I was hoping to get somebody who looked like this. But often I get this person, or this person, or this person, and very often this person. That was always an interesting phone call. But you got to understand that if I offered you a job with a guaranteed income of $300,000 a year, and I did make $300,000 my first 12 months in the business, and I won't say that had anything to do with me. I wasn't a genius. I was not a salesperson. I just understood the plan, and I believed it would work for me. So if I offered you a job that guaranteed you an income of $300,000 per year, and all you had to do is make 28 phone calls per day, would you accept that job? Would you sign up tomorrow? I think you probably would. Maybe some of you wouldn't, but most of you would. And that's exactly the way she sold it to me. Had nothing changed in my life after that first 12 months, I would have a warehouse of people sitting at computers dialing for dollars for my business. That's the way it would look. Of course, That's the whole idea of doing. Once you know how to do something that's successful, all you got to do is do more of it and make more money. Well, what changed? Well, what changed was the telemarketing rules and laws. And what changed was the market itself. And this is the greatest book in the world. You should all read it. Let me say that again. You should all read it. You should definitely read this book, Who Moved My Cheese? Someone Moved My Cheese. The single most important book to understand how to deal with changing times and adversity is going to be this book. If you're a good reader, you're done in 20 minutes. It's that short. Big letters, small pages, and you can be done with it. At the end of that book, you'll want to buy hundreds of them and give them out as gifts, which is exactly what I did. This is a great book. You should all read it. It was all about the leads. So what, if I may ask a question, so far, what is the most important part of the goal setting process? And of course, we know that now to be breaking down the goal into bite-sized pieces, something you can believe you can do. And that's great. So Laura Rainey was the greatest broker in the world. I still believe she is. She's very, very not involved with her brokerage anymore. Her time is completely free. She's making millions, and she does exactly what she wants to do. But let me tell you a little bit of a story about Laura Rainey. 6 years into my business, I went to every year she had an annual Christmas party, and it was kind of like a reward ceremony, and I was being recognized as the top agent once again for multiple years in a row. Again, nothing to do with me. It was all about my broker and telling me what to do, because if I'd had any ideas, it would have failed and fallen on its face. Nevertheless, we were at one of these award ceremonies, and I was on stage being recognized again, and they asked me to speak and talk a little bit. And during my cocky conversation, as you can imagine, I had mentioned that I was very grateful to Laura Rainey for helping me and telling me what to do. Of course, at that time, I wasn't giving her any recognition for my success. Although years later, I would realize that she was all of the reason for my success. But during my conversation, or during my speech, in the back of the room, the lights were down in the back of the room, and I heard a muffle coming from the owner's table. And I said, "What was that?" And Laura Rainey said something, and I couldn't hear it still. I said, "I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't hear you." And she said, "Steve, I told everyone to do that." And it didn't hit me at that point. It hit me like a rock later that evening and into the weeks ahead, when I realized there were 50, 75 agents in that audience. I was the top agent by far, I think more than 100% higher than the next level down agent. And I realized that she had told every one of her agents to do that as they onboarded with her. And I was the only one that did it. And so that made a world of difference to me, and started me in understanding the lead building goals, or setting goals, and having some type of a business plan. So I call it the Forrest Gump effect. Keep it simple. Forrest Gump would do anything if you told him how to do it, and he didn't know better, so he just did it. And that's exactly what I was. I was Forrest Gump. And so, understanding what I just said, if the most important process of the goal setting process, or most important process, is understanding how to break down the goal, then what is the most important part of the goal setting process? Well, for me, it was believing. I believed that the goals she was helping me set, the business plan she was helping provide me, I believed it would work. No one else did. So the most important part is the belief. The most important process of goal setting, once you believe, is being able to break down your goals. So understand that as we get started. So learn the art of breaking down your goals to know your numbers. So maybe you've been in the business for a little while and you know some of your numbers. It's really easy to look at last year's totals and see that, maybe you made $150,000 last year, or put whatever number in you did make last year. Maybe it was 50, maybe it was 500,000. But whatever it is, you'll be able to do the same thing here. And let's say you close 10 transactions. You probably will see that on the board at your broker shop. You know you closed 10 transactions. You know you made $150,000 last year. And you can do the easy math, which was probably already done. And you know your average net per transaction is $15,000. So, okay, in California, it's probably a lot more than that. But you can say, okay, you know your average per transaction is $15,000. So congratulations. With that information, you're a wandering generality. That's what Zig Ziglar used to explain, the difference between a wandering generality and a meaningful specific. You have to break that down even further. If you haven't tracked your leads, if you didn't have a piece of paper or some way track every lead you had conversations with, you wouldn't know how many leads you dealt with. So that's the first thing you have to do, is start tracking your leads. So let's just say, over the last year and the last calendar year, you know, or you can figure out that you dealt with 90 leads. And now that you know the difference between a hard lead and an easy lead, let's just say you dealt with 90 easy leads. All right, well, that is different. That can make you a meaningful specific, because now you can set goals. Now you can make a business plan with just that information. 90 easy leads in 1 year. Then you simply break it down. Well, that means if you did 10 transactions, your ratio is 9-to-1, right? Now you've become a meaningful specific. Your closing ratio is 9-to-1. That's 7.5 leads per month, 90 into 12. That's 2 leads per week, just 2 leads per week. Now all you have to do is figure out how to accomplish your daily goal, but you're really, really busy with 90 leads. Everybody knows you were busy during that last 12 months. You had 90 leads to deal with, and anybody in the real estate industry knows 90 leads is a lot of time and effort, especially if they're buyer leads, because you're out there showing lots of homes to lots of people to find those 10 transactions throughout the year. Now, I use this as an example of a lead tracker. By the way, you can email me a request to get any of this information, documents. I have documents in Word and Excel documents that you can have. I also have the business plan, all fully written for this entire machine, that you can also email me for. This is an example of a lead tracker. Later on, I'll be able to show you what the purpose of this is for, the totaling it all up, knowing where your leads are coming from, and how that can change or make a big difference in helping you adjust or change with the market while it's happening. Most people don't know how to adjust with the market until 3, 4, 5 months later, after their business has been destroyed. So the lead tracker will help you adjust with the market immediately. So now we're gonna build on this foundation. All right, we've just started. We're going to build on this foundation. Let's say you want to make $300,000 the next year. Knowing what you know now, you're a meaningful specific. Your annual income you desire is $300,000. What's your average net? That's $15,000. That hasn't changed. You're going to break it down to a number of transactions you're going to have to do. Just simply double the income, double the transactions. That's 20. Break it down to the number of easy leads you're going to have to deal with. You know your ratio is 9-to-1. That means you're going to have to deal with 180 leads in order to double your income to $300,000. And that's how most people become successful in the beginning of their real estate business. Break it down to monthly goal. That means you're going to have 15 leads a month coming in. That means your phone's going to ring 15 times with 15 different leads asking for your help. Breaking it down to a weekly goal is 4 leads a week. That's not even a full lead per day. 4 leads per week. You have to just get your phone to ring with 4 individual different people every single week. Now, all you have to do is figure out how to accomplish your weekly goal. But now, of course, now you're really, really busy. You're basically just doing double what you did the first year or the last year, and you got 180 leads. They're all easy leads because we haven't done anything different. But now you're really, really busy. Let's just say you want to do even more. And this is how agents burn out. And you hear that, you will hear that if you don't know it already from your broker. Lots of agents burn out in this business. They get some sales skills and they burn out because, well, they're good salesmen. They can sell bigger ticket items. They can do different things, and they are just literally burned out. They have no family. Maybe they've already got a divorce. They don't have any relationship with their children. They're not even seeing their spouse or their significant other, and it's just a burnout. But anyways, let's just increase, and we want to make more money, 500,000. We want to have a team of people. We want to be able to afford that team of people. So your annual income you desire is 500. What's your average net per transaction? Let's just say that hasn't changed. Of course, that could change if the appreciation values are going up every year, but let's just say it's $15,000. You're going to break it down to the number of transactions. That's 33 transactions. Break it down to the number of easy leads you're going to have to deal with. If your ratio is 9-to-1, that's 297 leads. Break it down to the monthly goal, 25, the weekly goal, 6, and break it down to a daily goal, which is just a little bit more than 1 per day. You just have to make your phone ring with an individual, separate, new person every single day that's asking you about your service, whether it's buyers or sellers, and you're going to accomplish that goal. And you can feel comfortable that you will accomplish that goal because you're making your daily goal. However, you got 297 leads. If they're buyer leads, my God, you're busy. You're going to be trying to have assistants show properties. You're going to be showing properties on weekends, holidays. You're going to be showing properties. If they're sellers, same thing. You're busy doing listing appointments, and you're just out there. Maybe you've got buyer's agents now. The buyer's agents are showing people houses, and you're just dealing with the listings. And that might save up, give you a little bit more time. That's what normally agents do, and that's okay. And they build a team and they continue to work, but they're the magic. They're still the magic. And so they can't really walk away from their business. Now, all you need to do is figure out how to accomplish your daily goal. And you're very, 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 really, really, really busy with 297 leads. And I'm sure you are aware of that. But now let's try this with a different type of lead. Let's switch to hard leads. Let's make a lead generating machine that's going to start developing hard leads. Easy to close hard leads. Annual income, 500,000. Net per transaction, still 15,000. Transactions, 33. But in my case, once I got understanding what was going on here, my ratio went from 9-to-1 to 2-to-1. And I wasn't a very good salesperson. So if your ratio changes when you change from easy leads to hard leads to a 2-to-1 ratio, now you're only dealing with 66 leads. That's 5 a month, and that's 1 per week. You only really need your phone to ring 1 time per week with a new individual person asking for your help. 1 time per week. I know that I'm sounding a little animated here, but it's hard to make this sound exciting because all of you know this is true. I'm not telling you something you don't know is true as I'm sharing it with you, but yet we don't really gravitate towards understanding these ideas because we're doing what everybody's telling us to do. Now all you need to do is figure out how to accomplish your weekly goal of getting 1 new lead per week from a hard lead from a referred source. You're going to have more time, more fun, less stress, and you're going to be loving life. Hard leads are easy to close because the lead is coming from a trustworthy and highly valued source in the eyes of the lead. So besides getting better at sales conversations, which could increase your sales ratio, what is the best way to improve your sales conversion ratio and produce more with less? Well, of course, switch to better leads. Hard leads. Increase the quality of your leads. Now, agents that do understand this, it counts for mortgage lenders as well. Agents that do understand this and finally realize it sometimes 15, 20 years into their career, immediately start looking for hard leads. My suggestion is we start doing that now, early on in your career. But if you're already in the business 15, 20 years, now's better than later. It's never too late to switch to hard leads. So understanding the lead generating machine, it's not my idea. Guys, any idea I've ever had, any of my own personal ideas, I am totally honest with you when I tell you they've all fell flat on their face. If they were my idea, they didn't work. I spent money on them, I put time into them, and it was a waste of time. I can pick out a bad idea from anybody who calls me. They'd never like to hear me tell them it's a bad idea. But, if it's not tried and proven, it's a bad idea. All of my ideas were bad. All of them failed. This was designed by masters of influence. What I mean by this is decades old, maybe 100 years plus old. It's changed with the technology. Successful salespeople have used it for over 100 years. Yes, you can find examples of this over 100 years ago, and it's there. And so it was designed over the years by masters of influence. It would have to be in order for it to last that long. It was engineered by psychologists. There's a lot of psychology that goes into this marketing machine, and you'll understand that as we go farther into it. You don't have to be a psychologist or a major in psychology, but in fact, if you know too much, if you've gone to too much college, and honestly, it'll be harder for you to understand this. I hate to say that, folks, but it's true. Nevertheless, if you're the kind of person who needs to understand everything before you get started, I find that those people have, a master's degree or high-level education, and it's just so hard for them to build something so simple because it can't work if it's simple, right? That's what they think. Anyways, it's been tried and tested by marketing geniuses, and it's been proven by marketing idiots like me. Guaranteed by the laws of cause and effect, transferable to all sales businesses, Grunlandized a little bit for the real estate and mortgage industry, and it's been shared widely, but rarely employed. And the reason why? It's because people think it's too simple. It can't work if it's simple. But I'm telling you, the best things are simple. The things that work best in your life are simple. A machine is a series of systems that produce a specific result. A machine is a system, but it's typically a series of systems that produce a specific result or product automatically. No part or system as a part of that machine was designed to run itself. And that's what's important here. You're going to find some of these parts you've heard of, and you may have tried them, but they didn't work, and you stopped doing them. And they weren't intended to work by themselves. Our machine will produce leads automatically without continued effort. You can control the number and quality of the leads it produces. In the beginning, you want quantity. And as you understand more and more, you're going to want to fine-tune your machine to get leads of quality. Your machine will have several components that work together, like a team, to automate important jobs. Incidentally, most people spend their whole day neglecting the important jobs in favor of urgent tasks. And that is true. You answer the phone because it's urgent, it's ringing, it's a salesperson trying to sell you something, you're wasting your time. No component was designed to work on its own. Your machine can be upgraded from time to time, but never has to be completely rebuilt. I want you to visualize this. It's a machine you put in your garage. You build it only one time. You upgrade it. You fine-tune it. And you make it better, but you never have to rebuild it. Yes, it's going to take some time to build. There's no doubt about it. Here's a visualization of a machine. I was a jet engine mechanic in the Air Force. I also was a mechanic for automobiles for a long time. Well, in high school. I went right into the military after high school, but I had my own garages in high school, and I was working on engines. I loved working on engines. I like to take things apart and figure out how to make them work or make them work better or fix things. But so I use the analogy of an engine in a car to understand there's lots of different parts on that engine. None of them will make it run by themselves. It has to have all of these parts in order for an engine to actually work. Your machine will focus on producing only the highest quality leads. I said the top 7. This is only showing the top 6, but it'll actually work on the top 7. That's what you want it to work on. Remember, your machine will automate the essential activities like creating friends, creating deeper relationships, creating top-of-mind marketing. You want people in your sphere of influence, people who know you, people you know. You want them thinking of you when they think of real estate or mortgage finance, and we'll talk about that later. It's going to help you create professional relationships. It's going to help you create, actually not going to help you, it's going to do it for you. It's going to create referral partners. It's going to follow up. It's going to be it's going to be asking for referrals. Many people find that's hard to do, but this is going to do it for you. Now, this is the end of the intro. And I want you to understand, there's some pictures of my family and different things we've been doing over the last few years, last 10 years. Of course, that was back when I had some hair. But nevertheless, this is the end of the intro. The next section we're going to be doing is part 1 of your machine. And that will be coming up the very next section. And I look forward to doing that with you too. Have a wonderful day.